Okay, so we are live right now. So go ahead and start sharing. So I do get this question a lot. Everybody wanted to buy a land, and there are a lot of questions around it, like what type of land I should buy, and all the details that actually surround that. So it's really important to actually learn about anything because a lot of people will be investing, hundreds and thousands of dollars. Sometimes you're investing like 5,000, 10,000. Sometimes you're investing like $1 million. So you have to learn about everything that you do, right? So I'm going to try to give you as much general information as possible and also some details, how you should be looking into the land, what you should be doing, things in detail. So, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about me, why I qualify, because there are a lot of people who talk about investments, but they don't have really real knowledge on what they're talking about. So I'll tell you a little bit. I started real estate 7 years ago. I invested a lot of money in education, just 30,000 to one of the companies that I paid to actually learn. And I actually worked for an investor for first couple years, where most of the real estate agents they actually read books and they write exams and get started. So I didn't start that way. I actually knew everything about real estate before I became an agent. And my investor, who I used to work with, used to make me buy and sell land. He also used to make me work for different negotiation techniques on auctions and buying foreclosure properties, buying rental properties, and doing all that work. However, I started becoming my own investor, but I used to work with a lot of realtors that actually didn't had the qualities that I was looking for. Most of them were not knowledgeable about the disclosures and negotiating price and terms. Most of them were busy, or sometimes they didn't have the proper motivation to return my phone calls or text messages. They were not proactive enough. Like, for an example, if I have to make a quick offer on a property that I wanted to buy, they wouldn't really be proactive that to make a quick offer, and by the time they actually placed an offer, the property was already sold. And a few of the other things that I actually saw in the real estate agents where they lack patience to show multiple properties to me. For an example, if they are actually showing me like 5 to 10 homes, they would really get tired if I didn't buy or make a selection from those properties that I actually looked at. And there were some of them were not experienced enough to guide me on proper real estate problems. So, for an example, I bought a property which had the foundation problem, which cost me almost like $40,000 and 4 months to fix. And the real estate agent did know about that issue, and he did not tell me because he wanted to sell me the home so that he can get his commission. So that was really a bad experience working with that realtor. A lot of realtor don't have passion, suggested me homes that, you know, and they didn't explain me the home buying process. So I became a realtor to actually solve all those problems and be a best agent for the community that I work with. So now let's get into the real topic. Uh, so most people come to me and say, well, I wanted to buy this land. It's like $3,000. I wanted to buy that land. It's like $4,000, whatever. However, most of them don't really tell me about, what type of land they want to buy, right? That is the most important thing that they don't tell me, and so, like, you have to understand what type of land, what is the purpose, right? Is that recreational? Is that like for farming? Are you buying land for commercial construction? Are you buying land for warehouse? Are you buying land for to build apartments? Are you buying land for to build a shopping center around it? Are you buying land to build a restaurant? All these questions are really important because it really affects what type of land you're buying. Because if your purpose is to buy a farming land, and and but you actually wanted to build a single family home on it, you would not be able to do it. So that is really important to actually look at it. Second thing is, I'm gonna go into some more details. The first thing you have to understand is do market analysis. right? Market research, which includes, like, for an example, if you're trying to buy a home, you're not going to buy a home in a place where there's a high crime rate, nobody is visiting that area, or people are really not excited about visiting that state, or there is no growth in that state, right? So if you're buying land in that area where there are no opportunities, then you won't be able to actually utilize much. So what you have to do is research. Market research tools are very important. So for an example, one of these tools that I actually you know do use and have been recommended is the bestplaces.net. This is actually a tool which actually gives you which are the best places, which are the growing places, which are the places where people are visiting. Some of these places are also known to be hot places or tourist locations. You also have to look at the crime rate, growth population, national average. Also, you have to look at the state and county level, where in which the markets they are, like with compared to like the other counties, like which county, which state, which city is growing. And sometimes you don't have the time to do all this research, so you can always pay somebody to do this research as well. Like sometimes what happens is that, let's say you are in Washington and you want to buy a land in let's say Texas, right? And you hire an agent there and you tell them like, well, I have $100,000 and I want to buy a land. Can you do all this market research for me? And sometimes they're not really motivated to do all this research for you because they don't know how serious you are. I mean, everybody have money, but sometimes people actually ask agents to do a lot of work for them. They do all the work and then the buyer really doesn't respond or do anything. So you can pay the agent, hey, tell them like, I'm gonna pay you like $500, and can you just do some research and tell me like the best markets in this area? And you have to tell them like, I just want to learn about the area first. I'm not looking to buy the property because he could be biased. I mean, he might have a land that he wanted to sell, and he might tell you that area is good, but you want to tell him like you're not looking to buy it right now. First, you want the area research to be done, then you'll make a decision. So you can pay somebody to do it for you as well. So let's say one of the type of land that some people wanted to buy is for like hunting, recreational land, hiking. They're not looking to make money out of it. They're not looking to build like a apartment building or a single family home or a construction warehouse or anything like that, right? So they wanted to just have a land where they can take their family and they can just take a bunch of food there and cook, grill, and eat, and just stay there like for like couple days. And they want to hunt, they want to do all those things, right? So you can buy a land like that. Make sure the land is huge, like I mean at least like 10 acres, right? If you have less than 10 acres, and you're going to be hitting the boundaries, that way you're not going to be able to. And second thing is, if you want the land for hunting, you make sure like the animals come there, like deer or but you're gonna buy the land, you're gonna go sit there, spend like hours, you're not seeing any animals coming there, and all your purpose was to actually buy that land for hunting and everything, then you're not gonna be able to do that. Second thing is, you have to look at the laws, rules, regulations. You don't want to buy a land where animals come and everything is good, and all of a sudden you started hunting them, and you get caught and get jailed, right? You don't want to get into those issues. You want to make sure the laws, rules, and regulations allow you to do that. In most of the places, like for an example, you own the land, animal comes there, I mean, you have the right to kill them. Like sometimes it's like that, but sometimes it's not like that, right? So you have to make sure that you have to understand the rules, regulations. Make sure there are no residential, commercial buildings nearby if you are actually planning on hunting, right? For example, you buy a land in the middle of like a place, but there are residents that live a little bit far away. They can get hurt. So if you're actually going to be hunting, right? So those are some of those other things as well you have to look into. Few other things that um, which right? And also there are some people joining late, so you don't have to worry about that. Another thing is farming, right? Some people buy land for farming. They want to like grow wheat, rice, grains. They wanted to sell. There are also like different types of farmings, like goat farming and cow farming. You can buy like a bunch of goats and put it in the farm, and the goats will give babies and they will grow, and like 10 goats will become like 20, 30, 40, 50 eventually. You can sell them to like shops and stuff like that. You can sell meat. You can do all sort of different farmings, right? You can farm like chicken, all those things. So in order for you to do that, like whatever type of farming you are trying to do, you need to actually talk to the people there. Like for an example, you're trying to do like grain farming, wheat farming. You talk to the farmers in the area, tell them like pay them like $500, tell them like I want to buy this land, and tell me if this is going to be a good investment. They will tell you, hey, come on man, seriously, I mean, this land, this area is really dry. I mean, we're really struggling a lot to actually bring water here. Please don't buy it. I mean, that would be my honest opinion. Like people sometimes you don't even have to pay them. They'll give you their honest opinion because people are nice. They want to help each other out, right? So, but you have to do your research. Like for an example, you go and buy a car. You wanted to buy like, oh, should I buy like Toyota Sienna? Should I buy like, like a Honda CRV SUV, or should I buy RAV4? And you go to like a bunch of different places, you do research, you learn about these, and you just make a decision. Well, everybody buy one car and they actually tell them like, hey, these were the 5 reasons I decided to buy this car. That's how you should be. Like if you bought a land and I ask you a question like, why did you buy this land, you must have at least 4 to 5 reasons why you bought that land, right? And if you don't have those reasons, then you shouldn't be buying it, because there are so many people I know invested tens and thousands of dollars in land, and they'll call me, hey, I just bought this land for $10,000. I was like, that's amazing. What are you going to do with it? Well, I don't know. Maybe in future the value might go up. Well, but what if the value go down? Like, how do you know? Like, you bought it for like $10,000 market value, and then it's going to go like $20,000. For an example, if the land goes like $20,000 in the next 30 years, but you were paying like $1,000 taxes, you almost paid like so much taxes in that, where you don't even make profit. So for an example, if you had $10,000, you could have put 5% down or 10% down on a home in a small neighborhood and buy that home, which will produce you rent. So if you're actually buying a property that is not going to produce you rent, instead you're going to pay taxes and it's not going to benefit you in any way, then it's not really helpful for you to buy that land. So in order for you to buy that land, you have to do all the required research that is needed in order for you to make a return on investment, which is also called as an ROI. um, so you also have to look at the competition. So for an example, let's say you wanted to grow some type of grain there, right? And all of a sudden you put a land, you put hundreds and thousands of dollars, you actually do the farming. But let's what, there are other people doing the same thing and selling for a lot cheaper, then you're not going to be able to make money there, right? You wanted to go into an area where there's transportation available, there's not much competition, you're going to make money. So that is something about the farming, right? Second thing is, you should be if you're not able to do all that, you should see if you can rent it to other farmers. Maybe you buy a land for like 50,000, $100,000, you rent it for like $2,000 a month. You're going to make your return on investment in like 50 months and then make profit on top of that. Maybe then you can later sell it to another farmer as well. Another type of investment is a commercial, right? So on the top left, if you see the picture, that's actually a warehouse. A lot of people don't know warehouse is actually a niche. I used to be, I was actually in Minnesota for some time, and I was working with a group of investors, and all they do is they do warehouses. And I was like, come on, man, are you stupid? I mean, why are you guys investing in warehouses? Like ugly big box with nothing inside. I mean, who's gonna rent these warehouses? I mean, you should be investing your money in like apartment buildings, should be investing your money in many different things. But guys, if you don't know, warehouses is like a niche. All they do is invest in warehouse. So what is happening right now is, because of e-commerce is actually growing so fast, most of these companies which are online are actually buying these warehouses, and they ship everything from these warehouses. So for an example, the old traditional brick and mortar model was where if a company is selling mattresses, they will have like about 10 stores in each state, And then over 50 states, they will have like, I don't know, like 500 stores, which is so hectic to manage. But now the young generation millennials who are doing business, the way they do is instead of having 50, 500 stores, which are very difficult to maintain with all the employees and everything, they will have five warehouses all across the states, and they will have like robots, automated machinery that are operating these warehouses, and they will have one website. They will run ads on Facebook, Instagram, and they will just sell everything off of those warehouses. So because the e-commerce is growing so much, their warehouses have actually increased in value significantly. Also, it's very very less headache to actually uh, lease a warehouse. An investor who would actually rent a warehouse, which at least rent it for like 5 years. That's how the commercial lease works. So that is something that you can do. Second thing is office building, right? Office buildings are actually hot in some areas, but since COVID have started, office buildings are losing value. So you really only wanted to invest in office building like if there is a very very high demand, there are no offices in place. But I would recommend just stay away from investing in office building, because people are trying to get rid of their problems, which are owning office building and not able to rent it, because most of the companies are actually trying to have their employees work from home even in future after COVID ends, because they're saving millions of dollars in rent maintenance of the office. Because if you have an office building, you have to have a security person, you have electricity bill, taxes, every single thing you have to worry about. So people are saving millions and millions of dollars in office buildings. So they're losing. So don't try to invest in office buildings. That's what I recommend, until unless that area has like very very few office buildings, right? A few more things that I would like to recommend. So, for an example, shopping mall, right? Some places don't have shopping mall. There's a growing city. If you don't put a shopping mall there, somebody else is going to put on it, and they're going to make a lot of money. You can actually make a big shopping mall, but you don't have to put all the stores in there. You can give one store to Nike. You can go give one store to Forever 21. You can give one store to Under Armour. You can give all these individual stores to like Louis Vuitton, or you can have like franchises like Subway, KFC, Burger King, Creamstone, Cold Stone, and all these companies actually rent in that shopping mall. All you're going to do is just collect all this money and then maintain the shopping mall with proper systems, security guards, and everything. Then you don't have to do a lot of work. Another type of investment that you can do is apartment building, right? So if you actually have like an apartment building that you wanted to invest in, something like on the right hand side that I actually put in, is you actually buy. A lot of the youngsters right now don't want to own a single family home, take care of the rent, mow the lawn, take care of the exterior of the building, and do all that work. All they want to do is like most of the young guys growing up right now, or sometimes they're a little bit lazy. They don't want to do all that work. They just want to rent an apartment, don't have to worry about anything else, pay $1,200 or $2,000 a month, and this just don't want to worry about anything else. They want the other people to worry about. So you can buy apartment building, put in a bunch of people in there, and the maintenance is also low. For an example, if you're actually getting an apartment building, um, and you have 10 units in there, you change your roof, the roof is changed for like 10 units. But if you buy 10 different single family homes, and in 30 years the roof is going bad on all of the homes, and you have to change the roof for all of those homes, right? So it's a lot of money there for sure. So another thing that I would actually recommend is, when you're buying an apartment building, make sure you have a um, property management in place, who are going to take care of the building very well. You want to make sure they're going to bring new tenants. You want to make sure they're going to take care of the repairs. I mean, you don't want to get, I mean, 10 calls a day for small little problems, one tenant is saying that my faucet is broken, my shower is not working, my sink is leaking, or I'm having so and so problem, my window is broken. You don't want to get calls. You want to automate everything by hiring proper management in place who are going to take care of your building very well, right? You can also put restaurants in place. You can put a hotel or motel. If, for an example, there is a you bought a land which is actually on a highway exit, it's actually going to be very great for you to put a motel, because what happens is that there are truck drivers or people who are doing business or trades traveling from one state to another. They actually they see a motel on their way, and they were like, hey, come on, man, I mean, I don't think I can drive anymore, let me take this exit and stay in this motel for tonight, and then I'll drive tomorrow morning when I'm nice and fresh, right? So you can actually do that as well. Put a hotel or a motel. If you're putting a hotel or motel, you should actually get a good franchise, which is going to recognize your hotel name, so that you have more customers. Second thing, that another thing is, single family home. Some people are like, hey, you know what, I don't want to do all that crazy stuff like commercial building. Come on, man, Abdul, I mean, I'm like small little guy. I mean, I'm just a tech person. I don't want to do all those crazy things like buy a farm or buy a commercial building or put in a warehouse and do these big things. I mean, I don't have a lot of money. I have like a little bit of money. I just want to buy my I just want to buy a small land and just build my own home in it just to live in it. I'm a I'm a decent person. A minimalist, right? So in that case, you want to check the zoning permits. Like for an example, talk to the city, tell them like, hey, if this land I can actually build a single family home on it, just make sure you are able to do that. If you are able to do, make sure it's not a wetland, because if it's a wetland, you have to do a lot of work to recover that wetland, remove all the water and everything, because it's very hard to build a home on a wetland. Make sure they are good schools, because if you buy a home or build a home and the schools are bad, your kids are going to go to a bad school, and they're not going to learn much, right? So you want to make sure you actually have good schools in that area. Everything is good, like you wanted to talk about the crime rate and all the things you're looking for. The another thing is, there is a different type of investors. What they do is they buy big land and they hold it for long term, and when the value goes up, they sell it. They don't do anything with it. They don't build a home, they don't build a commercial building on it, they don't do anything. Another thing that they do is subdivide. So for an example, they'll buy a big land, they will cut this land into small pieces, they will go to the city, they will hire a planner, a surveyor, put a survey and subdivide this land, and they will spend a lot of money, and they will sell these pieces to individuals for a lot of money, and then they'll make a big profit. So for an example, somebody bought like 1 acre land for like $100,000, and they made 10 pieces of that, so each piece is $10,000, but they will not sell it for 10,000, they will sell it for like $30,000. So when they sell those 10 pieces for like $30,000 each, the total money they will get for those 10 lots is going to be $300,000. So they're going to make like $200,000 profit. Something like that, you can do it as well. Like for an example, if you heard like Tesla is coming into some neighborhood like Texas, so you can actually follow the news and buy a land there. When the Tesla finally comes, the factory is there, then you can actually sell that land later on. So like there are going to be more jobs in that area, so people are going to want to build apartment buildings, construction. They can do all sort of things. You can also buy this land and sell it to developers who build apartment buildings, who build warehouses, who also do custom, all those things as well. So it's up to you, like what type of investment you want to do. So these are a few of the investments that you can do when buying a land. Also, I'm also a real estate agent. As I said, I actually sell home. These are just one of the recent new construction homes we sold. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, you can definitely learn about that for sure. Um, and we also have our Facebook community. It's called Seattle Real Estate Community. Very clean. I mean, you're not going to see people like posting, mattresses for sale and all that. I mean, it's very, very clean. I only post very knowledge sharing stuff. We don't have any advertisement on this community. And most of the value added information I share are to avoid mistakes while buying, selling, renting. Some of the people also rent, since they say that, well, I'm not buying and selling, I'm just renting. Well, I can give you tips on how to actually negotiate your rent, what to do, what not to do as well. Something I also do is I have a YouTube channel where I upload videos. If you wanted to go and take a look at my videos, you can definitely do that. I have all the videos that I create. I don't take content from internet. A lot of real estate agents, they make 5 hour, 2 hour presentations with all the content that they copy and paste from internet, and then the people watching the presentation will go sleep in the next 30 minutes. So something like that I don't do. I make my presentations very nice and simple for people to learn. And if you have any questions, you can definitely let me know. I mean, this is a live presentation. You can ask me questions live. Also, if you're shy to ask questions, you can also put it in the chat as well. And I can answer from there as well. Um, Looks like we don't have any questions right now. So, uh, one second. Okay, looks like somebody's asking a question. Yeah.
Hey, Abdullah, one question is you have not talked about the timing of buying this, right? I mean, how do we time it right and make sure that, right? I mean, our investments are done at the right time, right? I mean, what is that we need to watch out for, and how should we make that decision that okay, we should buy now or start investing here at this time?
Sure, sure. That's a good question. So first you have to define the purpose, like what purpose you're actually going to buy for. Let's say for an example, you want to buy a land to build your own single family home on it. I mean, may I know what would be your purpose if you're planning to buy a land?
I'm thinking of buying for investment purposes. So yeah,
Investment, like for an example, just buy it, maybe sell it later on.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Exactly. So the thing about landing, buying a land is all about learning. The more you learn, the more you earn. That's how it is. So for an example, you're looking to buy a car, right? You don't know anything about BMW, right? So what you do is you start learning about BMW. Now, like first, it's really hard for you to say like which car is good, which car is not good. Then you learn about BMW, you learn about Mercedes, you learn about Lexus, right? Then after 1 month, you know everything about like all about the cars. You're able to tell, okay, this car is good for this reason, this car is good for that reason. So what you have to do is all you can do is start going on Redfin, Zillow, and all these places, and start typing land in the keyword and keep looking at land and keep going there and visiting them. Also, whenever you see a land, you should call the city, tell them this is the land address that I want to buy. What type of restrictions do I have? Like, can I build a single family home on it? If you cannot build a single family home, you cannot build a construct commercial there. And all you can do is just like, land can be for recreational purpose. That land is not going to have any value. So you have to make sure that the city allows you to build a residential home or a commercial or something, and then you should get into more details about what portion of that land is a wetland. Like for an example, there's one brother who was looking to buy a land. He reached out to me. And we talked about everything about the land. He wanted to invest like almost like $1 million into it. He keep asking me, hey, should I buy this land? Should I not buy this land? So I almost spent like 1 month doing research. And after spending 1 month doing research, we found out that almost 50% of the land is wetland where you can't build anything, and the rest 50% you can only build like two single family homes on it. So he was investing $1 million to build single family homes on it. It was not really worth his money, so he decided not to buy it. So those are all those things you have to consider. It's all about like doing a whole bunch of research in order to make sure there are no factors that are going to limit you from selling the land to somebody else. Because if you don't do the research and buy the land, and you're trying to sell that land to somebody else, they're going to do all those research and find all those reasons not to buy that land from you. But if you do all the research and find the reasons to buy the land, then the buyers who are going to buy, they're also going to do the same research and find the same reasons to buy. So you're going to be able to sell it in profit in future if you actually do all those research.
Sure, makes sense. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It was
Yeah,
really
sure,
good.
sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Anytime, any questions. So yeah, if there are any questions, let me know, please.
Hey, Abdul Rahman, this is Nadeem. I thanks for the I joined your presentations for the first time, so this was informative. Wanted to ask about, like, I know for single family homes, it's easy for us to compare and value, find out what's the true value based on, what other homes are selling in the similar area. But I think for land, that might be difficult because there's not many land options. So how do you exactly evaluate what the land's worth is? I mean, what factors do you look into? Is that the area? Is that,
Exactly. So
it's difficult to go from there. So yeah, if you can throw some light.
yeah. So some sellers are smart. What they do is they pull permits. The most aggressive, the most difficult part of constructing a single family home is getting permission from the city. City will not want to give you permission unless you have all proper documentation, proper plan, what you're trying to do with that land. So if the seller have already pulled permission and they sell that we have done all the work for you, we have cleaned the land, we have removed all the trees and everything, because sometimes they don't let you cut the trees either. So if you cut the trees, they're going to give you a big fine. You're only limited to cut the amount of trees you can. And also, for an example, how much can you build? So for an example, if you're buying a 1 acre land, you're able to build 10 homes on that, because in 1 acre you can take 10,000 square feet to build each home. City will sometimes allow you to build only 2 homes, so that will also affect the value of the land. So for an example, if the land is already ready, the permits are being pulled, it's ready for construction. So what you can do is, for an example, let's say if you build 1 home on that land and you're going to be able to sell that home for $1 million, the cost to build a home is $500,000, right? So the way you can estimate is that land you should be able to buy it for $300,000 maximum, and you will put in $1 million additional to construct 2 homes. So you will be into that for $1.3 million, and you are in future able to sell that 2 properties for anywhere between 1.5 and $2 million, then you will be in profit. That's how you can estimate the value of the land, if it's worth for you to invest in or not. But if you're buying a land that is only $1 million and you're going to build a $1 million home in it, but you can sell that home for maximum $1.5 million, then you're going to lose $500,000. So that is type of research you have to do when you're building the land. And if you're not able to do the research, that is something that I can do it for you as well.
Okay, that's thanks. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Just one more follow up on that. Like you mentioned about permits. I've heard like in King County, the city is pretty backed up. I mean, is it true that to get a house permit to construct on a land, it takes like more than a year? I mean, I'm hearing various things, so I just
It
wanted
depends.
to get some.
It can
Okay.
take anywhere between a couple of months to a year. That's right. Actually, because due to COVID, the staff is very low. They're operating very slow basis. Everything is being really backed up. So like one of the new the construction homes that I sold actually took a lot longer than it was supposed to be built, because of the city that have to come for inspections, do all the work for the home to be ready. So yeah, definitely it can take a while to actually pull permits, for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem at all. So looks like we covered all the questions. If there are any other questions, let me know. Also, you were not able to ask me the question, but you have a question later on that you wanted to ask me. You can text me on WhatsApp 425-243-7860. I answer each and every question and each and every text I get. So anything I can do for you guys, let me know.